Item 440. Reinforcement for concrete. 1. Description. Furnish and place reinforcement of the type, size, and details shown on the plans. 2. Materials. Use deformed steel bar reinforcement unless otherwise specified or allowed. 2.1 Approved mills. Before furnishing steel, producing mills of reinforcing steel for the department must be pre-approved in accordance with DMS 7320, Qualification Procedure for Reinforcing Steel Producing Mills, by the Construction Division. The department's MPL has a list of approved producing mills. Reinforcing steel obtained from unapproved sources will not be accepted. Contact the Construction Division with the name and location of the producing mill for stainless reinforcing steel, low carbon/chromium reinforcing steel, or dual-coated reinforcing steel at least 4 weeks before ordering any material. 2.2 Deformed steel bar reinforcement. Provide deformed reinforcing steel conforming to one of the following: ASTM A615, grade 60, 75, or 80. ASTM A996, type A, grade 60. ASTM A996, type R, grade 60, permitted in concrete pavement only. Furnish ASTM A996, type R bars as straight bars only and do not bend them. Bend tests are not required. Or ASTM A706, grade 60 or 80. Provide the grade of reinforcing steel shown on the plans. Provide grade 60 if no grade is shown. The nominal size, area, and weight of reinforcing steel bars this item covers are shown in Table 1. Table 1. Size, area, and weight of reinforcing steel bars. See table in specifications. 2.3 Smooth steel bar reinforcement. Provide smooth bars for concrete pavement with a yield strength of at least 60 ksi and meeting ASTM A615. Provide steel conforming to ASTM A615 or meet the physical requirements of ASTM A36 for smooth bars that are larger than number 3. Designate smooth bars by size number up to number 4 and by diameter in inches above number 4. 2.4 Spiral reinforcement. Provide bars or wire for spiral reinforcement of the grade and minimum size or gauge shown on the plans. Provide smooth or deformed wire conforming to ASTM A1064. Provide bars conforming to ASTM A615, ASTM A996, type A, or ASTM A675, grade 80, meeting dimensional requirements of ASTM A615. 2.5 Weldable reinforcing steel. Provide reinforcing steel conforming to ASTM A706 or with a maximum carbon equivalent, CE, of 0.55% if welding of reinforcing steel is required or desired. Provide a report showing the percentages of elements necessary to establish CE for reinforcing steel that does not meet ASTM A706, in order to be structurally welded. These requirements do not pertain to miscellaneous welds on reinforcing steel as defined in Section 448.4.2.1.1, Miscellaneous Welding Applications. Calculate CE using the following formula. Do not weld stainless reinforcing steel without permission from the engineer. Provide stainless reinforcing steel suitable for welding, if required, and submit welding procedures and electrodes to the engineer for approval. 2.6 Welded wire reinforcement. Provide welded wire reinforcement, WWR, conforming to ASTM A1064. Observe the relations shown in Table 2 among size number, diameter in inches, and area when ordering wire by size numbers, unless otherwise specified. Precede the size number for deformed wire with D and for smooth wire with W. Designate WWR as shown in the following example: 6 × 12, W16 × W8, indicating 6 inches longitudinal wire spacing and 12 inches transverse wire spacing with smooth number 16 wire longitudinally and smooth number 8 wire transversely. Table 2. Wire size number, diameter, and area. See table in specifications. Note size numbers, inches, are the nominal cross-sectional area of the wire in hundredths of a square inch. Fractional sizes between the sizes listed above are also available and acceptable for use. 2.7 Epoxy coating. Provide epoxy-coated reinforcing steel as shown on the plans. Before furnishing epoxy-coated reinforcing steel, an epoxy applicator must be pre-approved in accordance with DMS 7330, Qualification Procedure for Reinforcing Steel Epoxy Coating Applicators. The department's MPL has a list of approved applicators. Furnish coated reinforcing steel meeting the requirements in Table 3. Table 3. Epoxy coating requirements for reinforcing steel. See table in specifications. Use epoxy coating material and coating repair material that complies with DMS 8130, epoxy powder coating for reinforcing steel. Patch no more than 1/4 inches total length in any foot at the applicator's plant. Maintain identification of all reinforcing steel throughout the coating and fabrication process and until delivery to the project site. Furnish 1 copy of a written certification verifying the coated reinforcing steel meets the requirements of this item and 1 copy of the manufacturer's control tests. 2.8 Mechanical couplers. Use couplers of the type specified in DMS 4510, mechanical couplers for reinforcing steel, Article 4510.5.a, General Requirements, when mechanical splices in reinforcing steel bars are shown on the plans. Furnish only couplers pre-qualified in accordance with DMS 4510, mechanical couplers for reinforcing steel. Ensure sleeve wedge type couplers are not used on coated reinforcing. Sample and test couplers for use on individual projects in accordance with DMS 4510, mechanical couplers for reinforcing steel. Furnish couplers only at locations shown on the plans. Furnish couplers for stainless reinforcing steel with the same alloy designation as the reinforcing steel. 2.9 Fibers. Supply fibers conforming to DMS 4550 fibers for concrete at the minimum dosage listed in the department's MPL, when allowed by the plans. Use non-metallic fibers when shown on the plans. 2.10 Stainless reinforcing steel. Provide deformed steel bars of the types listed in Table 4 and conforming to ASTM A955, grade 60 or higher when stainless reinforcing steel is required on the plans. Table 4. Acceptable types of deformed stainless steel bar. See table in specifications. 2.11 Low carbon/chromium reinforcing steel. Provide deformed steel bars conforming to ASTM A1035, grade 100 when low carbon/chromium reinforcing steel is required on the plans. 2.12 Dual coated reinforcing steel. Provide deformed bars conforming to ASTM A1055, grade 60 or higher when dual-coated reinforcing steel is required on the plans. 2.13 Glass fiber reinforced polymer bars, GFRP. Provide bars conforming to the OSHTO LRFD Bridge Design Guide specifications for GFRP reinforced concrete bridge decks and traffic railings, Section 4. Material specifications when GFRP bars are required on the plans. Provide sample certification demonstrating the GFRP bar supplier has produced bar that meets the material specifications 2MO before fabrication. Furnish certification upon shipment that the GFRP bar supplied meets the material specifications. 3. Construction. 3.1 Bending. Fabricate reinforcing steel bars as prescribed in the CRSI Manual of Standard Practice to the shapes and dimensions shown on the plans. Fabricate in the shop if possible. Field fabricate, if permitted, using a method approved by the engineer. Replace improperly fabricated, damaged, or broken bars at no additional expense to the department. Repair damaged or broken bars embedded in a previous concrete placement using a method approved by the engineer. Unless otherwise shown on the plans, the inside diameter of bar bends, in terms of the nominal bar diameter, D, must be as shown in Table 5. Table 5. Minimum inside diameter of bar bends. See table in specifications. Bend test representative specimens as described for smaller bars in the applicable ASTM specification where bending number 14 or number 18 grade 60 bars is required. Make the required 90 degrees bend around a pin with a diameter of 10 times the nominal diameter of the bar. Bend stainless reinforcing steel in accordance with ASTM A955. 3.2 Tolerances. Fabrication tolerances for bars are shown in Figure 1. Figure 1. Fabrication tolerances for bars. See figure in specifications. 3.3 Storage. Store reinforcement above the ground on platforms, skids, or other supports, and protect it from damage and deterioration. Ensure reinforcement is free from dirt, paint, grease, oil, and other foreign materials when it is placed in the work. Use reinforcement free from defects such as cracks and delaminations. Rust, surface seams, surface irregularities, or mill scale will not be cause for rejection if the minimum cross-sectional area of a hand wire brushed specimen meets the requirements for the size of steel specified. Do not allow stainless reinforcing steel to be in direct contact with uncoated reinforcing steel, nor with galvanized reinforcing steel. This does not apply to stainless steel wires and ties. Store stainless reinforcing steel separately, off the ground on wooden supports. 3.4 Splices. Lap splice, weld splice, or mechanically splice bars as shown on the plans. Additional splices not shown on the plans will require approval. Splices not shown on the plans will be permitted in slabs no more than 15 inches in thickness, columns, walls, and parapets. Do not splice bars less than 30 feet in plan length unless otherwise approved. For bars exceeding 30 feet in plan length, the distance center to center of splices must be at least 30 feet minus 1 splice length, with no more than one individual bar length less than 10 feet. Make lap splices not shown on the plans, but otherwise permitted, in accordance with Table 6. Maintain the specified concrete cover and spacing at splices, and place the lap spliced bars in contact, securely tied together. Table 6. Minimum lap requirements for steel bar sizes through number 11. See table in specifications. Do not lap number 14 or number 18 bars. Lap spiral steel at least one turn. Splice WWR using a lap length that includes the overlap of at least 2 cross wires plus 2 inches on each sheet or roll. Splices using bars that develop equivalent strength and are lapped in accordance with Table 6 are permitted. Lap the existing longitudinal bars with the new bars as shown in Table 6 for box culvert extensions with less than 1 feet of fill. Lap at least 1 feet 0 inches for extensions with more than 1 feet of fill. Ensure welded splices conform to the requirements of the plans and of Item 448, Structural Field Welding. Field prepare ends of reinforcing bars if they will be butt welded. Delivered bars must be long enough to permit weld preparation. Install mechanical coupling devices in accordance with the manufacturer's recommendations at locations shown on the plans. Protect threaded male or female connections, and ensure the threaded connections are clean when making the connection. Do not repair damaged threads. Mechanical coupler alternate equivalent strength arrangements, to be accomplished by substituting larger bar sizes or more bars, will be considered if approved in writing before fabrication of the systems. 3.5 Placing. Place reinforcement as near as possible to the position shown on the plans. Do not vary bars from plan placement by more than 1/12 of the spacing between bars in the plane of the bar parallel to the nearest surface of concrete. Do not vary bars from plan placement by more than 1/4 in the plane of the bar perpendicular to the nearest surface of concrete. Provide a minimum 1 inches clear cover of concrete to the nearest surface of bar unless otherwise shown on the plans. For bridge slabs, the clear cover tolerance for the top mat of reinforcement is 0, plus 1/2 inches. Locate the reinforcement accurately in the forms, and hold it firmly in place before and during concrete placement by means of bar supports that are adequate in strength and number to prevent displacement and keep the reinforcement at the proper distance from the forms. Provide bar supports in accordance with the CRSI Manual of Standard Practice. Use Class 1 supports, approved plastic bar supports, precast mortar, or concrete blocks when supports are in contact with removable or stay-in-place forms. Use Class 3 supports in slab overlays on concrete panels or on existing concrete slabs. Bar supports in contact with soil or subgrade must be approved. Use Class 1A supports with epoxy-coated reinforcing steel. Provide epoxy or plastic-coated tie wires and clips for use with epoxy-coated reinforcing steel. Use mortar or concrete with a minimum compressive strength of 5,000 psi for precast bar supports. Provide a suitable tie wire in each block for anchoring to the bar. Place individual bar supports in rows at 4 feet maximum spacing in each direction. Place continuous type bar supports at 4 feet maximum spacing. Use continuous bar supports with permanent metal deck forms. The exposure of the ends of longitudinals, stirrups, and spacers used to position the reinforcement in concrete pipe and storm drains is not cause for rejection. Tie reinforcement for bridge slabs and top slabs of direct traffic culverts at all intersections, except tie only alternate intersections where spacing is less than 1 feet in each direction. Tie the bars at enough intersections to provide a rigid cage of reinforcement for reinforcement cages for other structural members. Fasten mats of WWR securely at the ends and edges. Clean mortar, mud, dirt, debris, oil, and other foreign material from the reinforcement before concrete placement. Do not place concrete until authorized. Stop placement until corrective measures are taken if reinforcement is not adequately supported or tied to resist settlement, reinforcement is floating upward, truss bars are overturning, or movement is detected in any direction during concrete placement. 3.6 Handling, placing, and repairing epoxy-coated reinforcing steel. 3.6.1 Handling. Provide systems for handling coated reinforcing steel with padded contact areas. Pad bundling bands or use suitable banding to prevent damage to the coating. Lift bundles of coated reinforcement with a strong back, spreader bar, multiple supports, or a platform bridge. Transport the bundled reinforcement carefully, and store it on protective cribbing. Do not drop or drag the coated reinforcement. 3.6.2 Placing. Do not flame cut coated reinforcement. Saw or shear cut only when approved. Coat cut ends as specified in section 440.3.6.3, repairing coating. Do not weld or mechanically couple coated reinforcing steel except where specifically shown on the plans. Remove the epoxy coating at least 6 inches beyond the weld limits before welding and 2 inches beyond the limits of the coupler before assembly. Clean the steel of oil, grease, moisture, dirt, welding contamination, slag or acid residue, and rust to a near white finish after welding or coupling. Check the existing epoxy for damage. Remove any damaged or loose epoxy back to sound epoxy coating. Coat the splice area after cleaning with epoxy repair material to a thickness of 7 to 17 mils after curing. Apply a second application of repair material to the bar and coupler interface to ensure complete sealing of the joint. 3.6.3 Repairing coating. Use material that complies with the requirements of this item and ASTM D3963 for repairing of the coating. Make repairs in accordance with procedures recommended by the manufacturer of the epoxy coating powder. Apply at least the same coating thickness as required for the original coating for areas to be patched. Repair all visible damage to the coating. Repair sawed and sheared ends, cuts, breaks, and other damage promptly before additional oxidation occurs. Clean areas to be repaired to ensure they are free from surface contaminants. Make repairs in the shop or field as required. 3.7 Handling and placing stainless reinforcing steel. Handle, cut, and place stainless reinforcing steel bar using tools that are not used on carbon steel. Do not use carbon steel tools, chains, slings, etc. when handling stainless steel. Use only nylon or polypropylene slings. Cut stainless steel reinforcing using shears, saws, abrasive cut-off wheels, or torches. Remove any thermal oxidation using pickling paste. Do not field bend stainless steel reinforcing without approval. Use 16-gauge fully annealed stainless steel tie wire conforming to the material properties listed in section 440.2.10, stainless reinforcing steel. Support all stainless reinforcing steel on solid plastic, stainless steel, or epoxy-coated steel chairs. Do not use uncoated carbon steel chairs in contact with stainless reinforcing steel. 3.8 Bending, handling, repairing, and placing GFRP bars. Fabricate, handle, repair, and place GFRP bars in accordance with the TxDOT LRFD Bridge Design Guide specifications for GFRP reinforced concrete bridge decks and traffic railings, Section 5, Construction Specifications. For measurement and payment. The work performed, materials furnished, equipment, labor, tools, and incidentals will not be measured or paid for directly but will be considered subsidiary to pertinent items.